Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Maybe if I turn the mute off, it would work better, right? Welcome in, Winning Cures Everything, college football playoff rankings, reaction show after week number 12. The rankings just came out a little bit ago. It is live. That's right. We're doing this live for the first time, so we're going to see how it goes. Everybody, if you want to jump in the chat, we can see what you're saying. We will respond as we go. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
You can find us over at winningcureseverything.com. You can find all of our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Go on over to the YouTube. If you're watching there, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Share that thing out. And, of course, leave some comments. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what you think the committee got right and what they got wrong. Tell us what you think we're setting up for. Because, man, we got some crazy stuff going on. The show, of course, brought to you by Tunica, Mississippi, the South's premier sports gambling destination. They got 6 incredible sports books. You can find more information on them over at tunicatravel.com. Let's go ahead and fire into this. We've got 25 teams. We're going to go 25 all the way down to number 1. Let's start in the bottom 5, and I'm going to read them off first, and then we will discuss. Number 25, SMU. Number 24, App State. 23, USC. Number 22, Iowa State. Number 21, Oklahoma State. Now, the Massey composite ratings for those. SMU is number 22 at the Massey composite. They're 25 here. Let's see. We already got people in here. What's up, Gary and Chris from Joel? And Larry Pilgrim, your favorite Utah fan, is here. Absolutely. We're going to get to Utah. Don't you worry, buddy. We're going to talk about Utah. But SMU, 22 at the Massey composite, 25 in the rankings, 21 at the Massey composite for App State, 24 at the rankings, 23 for USC, that's even across the board, 26 for Iowa State at the Massey composite. They're 22 here, so I guess that big win over Texas means something, right?
They're the only 4-loss team in here.
Yeah, it's a little surprising.
I was shocked to see Iowa State.
USC, but
yeah. I was kind of shocked to see both of them.
Yeah, same here, and no Texas A&M. Kind of surprising.
Yes. I think A&M should be in. I think both of these teams should be out. I think SMU should be higher.
Oklahoma State is at 21, Navy. And their Massey composite is 24. What was that?
Now they bounced Navy after that beatdown from Notre Dame. Losing to a superior opponent should not be grounds for, like, I mean, if that team is ranked substantially higher than you anyway.
Yeah, but I think it was the way that they got beat. Right? I mean, they were down 38-0.
Well, yeah, but
like,
that's a far superior opponent.
I understand. Let's see. Michael's in here. He said gig 'em, and he also said Aggies over Georgia this week. We'll talk about that in our picks. We'll get there. We got Dalton that said Roll Tide Roll, and we've got Nick that said that is BS. Oklahoma State should be higher.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
put them over Boise State, but that's just a personal thing. I don't know that I'd put him over anyone else. But yeah, I am very, very attached to the American.
Yeah,
I'm not discrediting.
But you're also a Gundy guy. Like you like Mike Gundy.
I absolutely love Gundy.
So, yeah,
I mean, got 3 L's, man.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, and I don't know who exactly that they have beaten that would warrant being ranked higher. It's definitely not anybody in here.
No.
So. Who knows? Number 20, let's go on and do the next 5.
Keep rolling up.
Number 20, Boise State, they are 20 at the Massey composite. Number 19, Cincy, they are 17 at the Massey composite. We'll talk about it in a second. Number 18, Memphis is number 19 at the Massey composite. 17, Iowa, and they are 18 at the Massey composite. Number 16, Notre Dame is 13 at the Massey composite. Cincy dropped behind Memphis because of the way that they just, I'm not going to say they got dominated, but, I mean, they had like a 29% win expectancy, a post-game win expectancy against South Florida. Like, they really shouldn't have won that game. They were behind almost the entire game. Now, they did get the win.
But they won it. But it is 2 weeks straight now. I don't think it was just this week.
It wasn't 2 weeks straight because the week before they just hammered UConn.
Oh, that's right.
But it's 2 of the last 3 weeks.
That's right.
That they haven't looked good.
I forget that UConn's a team. They're not going to be soon. So
yeah. We have Swish Actions that jumped in. He said, Michael, no. Texas A&M is not going to beat Georgia. Nick jumped in and said, no, you're out of your mind if you think Georgia will lose to Texas A&M. Joel said, I agree with Oklahoma State over Boise. The Broncos are not supposed to be at 20. I think they're just showing some love to the Mountain West Conference. Let's see. Swiss Actions, they beat Florida and Auburn, and Nick said they won't lose again until the SEC Championship. So a lot of Georgia talk here.
Do you think getting USC in here is just propping up the Pac-12 to prepare themselves for – because as of right now, currently, if those two teams meet, when they beat each other, that will be the only top 25 win they got. When they meet, one of them will win, and they will finish with one top 25 win. But if USC continues to win, they can say, hey, we both have another.
Well, I guess it would make
Utah wouldn't.
Yeah, it would make Utah's loss to them look a little better.
Not better, and it would make Oregon's win over USC actually a top 25 win. Because both of these teams are going to go through the conference. They're going to go through their schedule, and they're not going to have a top 25 win
that's you
until
got
they
a point.
play one another. I think some of this is propping because they're always bad about doing that. Now, there's no question in my mind if
they've got Oklahoma State in here, I think, to help prop up Oklahoma. But now we'll talk about that here in
nobody is worthy of propping up the athletic, the ACC, and so therefore, I think it's just all right. Clemson's getting in no matter what. We got to boost these other guys though. We got to help the Power Five out. This is what that is.
I mean, maybe so. I mean, look. The other teams that are in the top 30 in the Massey Composite, you've got Texas A&M at 25, you got Washington at 27, Air Force, Texas, Navy, UCF, Louisiana, and then at 33, you have your next ACC team, and that's Virginia. So then you got Indiana, Kansas State, Miami, Florida, Pitt, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, all those ACC teams, all just right there in a row from 36 to 39.
When truly they're probably.
Well, and this is the Massey Composite, so this is all the computer stuff. So Larry said USC is really good. Oregon got them with most of their defense missing. And look, there's several teams that have gotten USC this year. Like they got 4 losses. So, we're
going to disagree on your definition of really good.
Yeah,
A&M's going to have the same amount of losses, but A&M's schedule is incredible. They've been beaten by real teams.
Yeah. Hey, something interesting?
That's why I would put A&M in there.
If LSU holds on to the number 1 spot, they would be the first team in AP poll history to play 3 number 1 teams in the same season.
Yeah.
Is that not insane?
That's
an absurd schedule.
We talked about it before the season started. I really liked A&M, but I fully understood that, A, they were really young. I was a year early, and B, that schedule was just brutal.
Yeah.
And it is.
As far as other good teams in the Pac-12, you've got USC at 7-4, you've got Washington at 6-4, and then you got Arizona State at 5-5, Cal at 5-5.
You can't do it.
Washington State at 5-5, Oregon State at 5-5.
This conference cannibalized itself more than any other conference.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a few more comments jumping in here. We've got. Let's see, a bunch of people talking about Texas A&M, Arkansas. That game's weird every year, y'all. I don't know why anybody's trashing A&M over that. It's a close game every year, regardless. So let's see. USC is in there to prop up Utah, says Nick. Joel says, Gary and Chris, who do you think is more championship ready, Utah or Oregon?
Neither.
Well, championship as far as national championship?
Oh, well, we're having. Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking, I think Utah will beat Oregon.
Okay.
But you think the other way. You think Oregon will beat Utah.
I think they're very equal. They're very comparable in how they play and what they play.
Yeah.
But are they in the same conversation as the elites? I just don't. I don't think that.
No, you're right.
And that's not a Pac-12 hatred. That's just the way I see football.
Let's see. Larry said, what's the composite on USC again? It's 23. Massey Composite has them at 23. They've got a win over Fresno, who has not been great this year. They've got a win over Stanford back when they were ranked, but
they're far from ranked now.
They lost at BYU, who has proven to not be great. They got the win over Utah, which props them up quite a bit. They got a 2-touchdown loss at Washington. They've got a close loss to Notre Dame after they were down in that one.
That's right.
Pretty big. USC got a big win over Arizona. They got a close win over Colorado. They got stomped by Oregon. They beat Arizona State on the road, and Arizona State has now lost, 4 straight?
I was just about to say, they have fallen on hard times.
So, but they also caught Arizona State when Jaden Daniels was not playing. So, and then they got Cal, and, of course, Cal lost Chase Garbers again. So, let's see. Joel, I'd say Oregon showed they can play with the SEC. Okay.
I mean, they
maybe.
did. They did.
But I don't think that means that Utah
game.
can't.
No.
Like, I think Utah's defensive line is just sick. I mean, just ridiculous. Joel said, yeah, I can agree. Oregon and Auburn was a close game, plus it was first game of the season. There's a weird. Swiss Action said, can someone explain why people say Georgia's offense can't keep up with LSU when Auburn played them tight? Is Georgia's defense not good enough to slow them down a little? Yeah, they can slow them down. I don't know if they can slow them down enough, but I do think that game will be, at least competitive. I still think.
Well, define competitive.
I think LSU still wins by like 10 points.
I was about to say. Yeah.
So,
it's a 2-score game in a championship game.
It's not going to be LSU Ole Miss.
No.
Like, it won't be 3 touchdowns and Georgia's playing from behind forever. Let's see. Matthew jumps in. He said Texas A&M Alamo Bowl. That would be fantastic.
I wouldn't be upset. I'm almost certain we'll never get a bowl game between Texas and Texas A&M. Both athletic directors don't want it.
Yeah. No,
that's the problem. All the fans want it. Neither athletic director wants it.
Yeah. So they will turn down that bowl invitation.
And that's the problem we got. We need this is a problem in boxing, there's a problem in college football. We need somebody to be the ruler of an iron fist and say, no, this is the matchup everybody wants to see.
A college football commissioner.
Yes. And we need to see this game happen.
Mike jumped in. He said, no, Nick. We'll start off with Nick. He said, when are we going to talk about which running back will be invited to the Heisman ceremony? None of them. None of them have been good enough to, if anybody was going to, it should be Travis Etienne, but he's not going to get there. Michael Fritch, Matthew Miller said, or sign me up for that. That's Texas A&M. Uga plays way too conservative. Also, Kirby cannot coach from behind. This past week, Kirby couldn't coach from in front. So
both games against Alabama, he couldn't coach from in front.
Yeah.
Kirby when he has talent that is far superior than everybody else, he can beat the hell out of those teams. When he plays comparable talent, man, he just struggles. Yeah. He struggles. Comparable talent and good coaching, he just struggles, man.
Nick said the Alamo Bowl is usually between ranked teams. That's a very valid point.
Awesome.
We could, of course, move this over
Shots
to
at
the
Texas. I like it.
We could move it over to the Texas Bowl.
Sure.
Texas Bowl between Texas and Texas A&M. I think
can we get it at the Liberty Bowl so I don't have to drive so far?
That'd be fun.
I just want to go watch.
Actually, that's
without having to take off work.
That's SEC and Big 12, isn't it?
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Then
Larry jumps in.
He's out there.
Michigan is coming on strong. Can't wait to see him play Ohio State. 100%. Can't wait for that one. And Joel, they need to make sure that Chase stays healthy for Georgia because that's the best player in the Florida-Georgia game. And you know what happened against South Carolina? Chase. Who's he talking about? I don't know. I thought for a second he was talking Ohio State. Joel, who are you talking about, man? Mike said that's because he goes conservative and goes crazy, loses his entire game plan when he's behind. Truth. Let's jump into the top 15.
Chase Hoff.
Man, I have
Haroff.
Haroff.
He's an offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah. That's probably a pretty good idea.
Well, yeah, you need your line healthy.
I mean, you're probably right about that.
That's good.
I thought he was talking Chase Young to start with. Number 15 is Auburn. They are also 15 at the Massey Composite. Number 14 is Baylor. They are 16 at the Massey Composite. I think they probably have Baylor above Auburn because it would just look bad to have a one-loss team behind a 3-loss team.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think they've got the rankings pretty strong.
Yeah.
Going all the way. This rankings I have the least problems with out of any of them that we've had so far come out.
Yeah.
I don't like the bottom half of 2 4-loss teams being in there when
there are other deserving candidates.
When they don't have big wins.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue. Well, I guess the USC win against Utah is a huge win, but yeah.
And the Iowa State win against Texas, I guess.
That's not a huge
and they've had close losses to Oklahoma.
That can't deserve a ranking.
I know.
So.
All
right, let's keep rolling.
Now, as far as the power ratings for Iowa State, I mean, they are up there, so
that's fine.
Yeah,
but power ratings are different than what your ranking should be.
This is true. This is true. Number 14, Baylor. They're 16 at Magic Composite. Number 13, Michigan. They are number 10 at the Magic Composite, which that's the biggest discrepancy so far.
But I understand the ranking. You can't have them over Wisconsin. Wisconsin beat the pants off them.
Yeah.
Rankings
you got Wisconsin.
And power ratings are different.
You got Wisconsin 12, and they are also 12 at the Magic Composite. And then Florida 11. They're also 11 at the Magic Composite.
I wouldn't be upset if both those Big Ten teams were over Florida. I know that's an SEC thing.
No. I think I agree.
I mean, you're picking nits because we're talking about moving teams one spot here or there and not, throwing them completely out of
If you look at the ranking, like the top undefeated team is an SEC team.
Yes.
The top 1-loss team is an SEC team. The top 2-loss team is an SEC team. The top 3-loss team is an SEC team. So, I think they put a lot of stock into the SEC.
I know that.
I don't think it's bias. I think that's actually the way that the power ratings are.
No, and I'm okay with that. And I guess if you look at Florida's 2 losses, they're
pretty good.
They look great. And, you got 2 top 4 teams. You got 2 playoff teams. My issue is, this goes back to the same song I've been singing this whole time. I look at wins over losses. I just do.
Yeah.
And their win against Auburn is great. That's all they've got. They've got a great win against Auburn.
More than some of these teams.
Well, I agree, but it's not more than Wisconsin or Michigan.
True.
And that's my quibble is I don't care so much. I don't grade the loss.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
I look at big wins.
Florida's win is better than Michigan's one really good win. I mean, Michigan's win was over Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And Florida's was over Auburn, who is ranked ahead of Notre Dame.
Them. Okay. I'll give you that.
So,
I'll give you that. Okay.
So, yeah,
Wisconsin,
yeah.
man.
Wisconsin, man, that lost
Their
to
win
Illinois.
over Michigan.
Here, let's go through some of these comments. Who would y'all put in the 4 spot in the playoff after Georgia loses to LSU? Let's see, Oregon, Utah, Penn State, or Michigan?
Well, if those are my only choices, I would probably put Michigan.
I'm wondering if I
because
missed something.
Michigan, if Michigan has 3 losses, they're out.
Oh, he said, would it be winner of Big 12 or Pac 12? That was Lone Wolf. Winner of the Big 12 or the Pac 12? I'd probably go Pac 12 because,
No, I would put Oklahoma in. If Oklahoma's the 1-loss team, I think they're getting in. I think
Oklahoma has not looked good, man.
No, they haven't. But it doesn't matter how bad you beat somebody. Are you beating them? Their win over Baylor is bigger than any win anybody in the Pac-12 is gonna have. Even when
Except
those
for
two
their
teams
win over each other.
play each other. No, when they play each other, going to Baylor is going to be a bigger deal than going to Santa Clara and beating one another. That's a bigger win.
I do agree with you, but I think the committee has told you what they think of Oklahoma.
And then their
right now.
second biggest win is if they beat Oklahoma State. That will be bigger than any win they got.
Yeah, I mean,
beating Texas, better than any win in the Pac-12. Beating Kansas State's probably comparable to some of the wins that they've got.
Yeah.
But, they lost to Kansas State. But, Iowa State is up there as equal to or better than any win they've got.
Okay.
So
yeah.
are we looking at wins, or are we just saying this conference, we need to prop them up?
I don't know that they need to prop anybody
because
up.
I'm looking at resume. That's all I'm looking at.
See, I'm looking at something completely different. Let's see. We had Michael said, I bet Oklahoma, big name. I'd rather see Pac-12, though. Let's see. Oops, I meant Lawrence Cager, not Chase. Okay, that's it. Hey, Cager, 100%.
Well,
yeah, got to have Cager. He's the only deep threat.
They've got.
He said Chris is right. Name is more important than resume, which is BS. Yeah, that's likely. I mean,
but I don't know that that's name versus resume.
I think if it's Oregon,
I think they have the best resume.
Yeah. Mike said, I agree. It's about TV ratings. It sounds like people have been listening to me for the last few years.
I was going to say, Gary's the one that prompts up the TV ratings.
The issue is that I don't know how much more TV you get from. No, you get more from Oklahoma than you do from
you
Oregon.
get a lot
Utah.
more. You can't
like Utah
can't discredit Oklahoma
nothing.
like that.
Let's see if they get past Oklahoma State. That game's always close, and not always. Oklahoma every now and then whips them, but last year it was insanely close. It would not surprise me with it being in Stillwater.
It wouldn't surprise me if Oklahoma State gets them.
Yep. Let's see. Joel, I would definitely put Oklahoma in, although they would be eaten up by LSU in the playoff if they stay number one.
LSU would not punt.
I think if Baylor can make it to the Big 12 championship, they can beat Oklahoma in round 2. I've said that.
I absolutely agree with that.
Let's see.
I think they are making it.
Let's see. Matthew, who's your guy's favorite CFB player ever that wasn't on your team?
Bo Jackson.
Man.
And that's not negotiable.
You'll have to let me think on that for a little bit. I have no idea.
Worshipped at the feet of that man.
Mine would probably be Honey Badger.
Yeah,
I wish Tyrann Mathieu played for Alabama so
showed
bad.
Up last night.
Good Lord.
Good Lord.
Mike, let's see. They just need to make sure they don't slip up a big lead. Larry, Utah is the number 3 defense, number 13 offense. Tell me who deserves 4. That's P5 rankings. Nick said, yeah, playing against trash. Mike, I don't think they will if they get a second shot. Could be tough. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about the top 10 here because this is what everybody wants to talk about.
Let's get into it.
Number 10, Minnesota. They're number 14 at the Massey Composite. Number 9, Oklahoma. They are 9 at the Massey Composite. Number 8, Penn State. They are number 5 at the Massey Composite. Number 7, Utah. They are 8 at the Massey Composite. Number 6, Oregon. They are 7 at the Massey Composite. So,
I think this is right, by the way.
I think that they have set up what they are planning to do here. I think the Pac-12 will get in over the Big 12.
Based on this right here, it would be really hard for Oklahoma to jump Oregon or Utah if one of those teams run the table.
Yeah, I mean, we've only got 2 weeks left in the regular
That's right.
season. So there ain't a whole lot of time, and they need to be convincing. Like, they've got TCU at home this week. You know, it's an 18-point spread. You better win by 20. You know, you better win by 3 touchdowns. Because if you keep doing these close games like this, it's the same issue that Baylor was having, right? Baylor is winning close games. They're still winning, so you can't really drop them too far. But you still had Baylor behind 2 lost teams when they were undefeated.
That's right.
And Oklahoma does not have that big-time out-of-conference game this year.
Nope.
It was UCLA. Who cares?
That's right.
Like, Utah destroyed UCLA. Worse than Oklahoma did, by the way, if you want to talk about comparable opponents. So, yeah, I mean, I think that what they did here was say, all right, Oklahoma, like, you need to go out and prove something. Like,
but even
it's
if
not
Oklahoma
good enough to
proves
just win.
it, if those other 2 teams take care of business, then
if they keep winning the same way that they've been winning.
I don't know that. I think if they both win by a touchdown the next 2 weeks and then they play one another, that game could be a winner by 1 point, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think because they're right. How do you jump somebody that far? Now, you assume Penn State will fall out if they lose to Ohio State this week. So they can move to 8. But then you're asking, at some point in time, we're going to end up with Oregon 6, and God, I mean, it's just Oregon 6.
There's nowhere for them to go.
And Utah loses, or Utah 6 and Oregon loses, and they move up to 7, but they can't jump that team, and unless there's not.
And they're going to be in a whole mess of trouble if Penn State beats Ohio State this week.
I don't think they're in any trouble at all. I think Penn State gets the 4 spot. Or Ohio State gets the 4 spot.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though.
Ohio State
you have 2 Big Ten teams.
No, that's done. They're not in a mess of trouble at all. Ohio State will get the 4 spot, guaranteed.
Yeah.
And the winner of the Big Ten will get the
probably
3 spot.
2 or 3.
They'll get the 3 spot.
So
they won't get 2. Clemson will get 2 no matter what. Because everybody else in the Big Ten's got a loss.
Yeah, I don't think
you're not going to have Clemson be 3.
I don't think the loss stuff matters. Like, they're still going to have a way better resume. Like, I could see them keeping Clemson at 3.
Well, that wouldn't upset me. I would agree.
I mean, they did it to Florida State back in.
Yeah.
And now it was different because Florida State was like barely squeaking by teams. But Florida State played like 5 top 25 teams that year.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. Comments are flying in. We'll get to all of them here. Let's go on and do the top 5 because that's what everybody wants to talk about. Number 5 is Alabama. They are 6 at the Massey Composite. Number 4, Georgia. They are 4 at the Massey Composite. 3 is Clemson. They are also 3 at the Composite. Number 2, Ohio State. They are number 1 at the Composite. And number 1, LSU. They are number 2 at the Composite. So let's fire into the comments here. Dalton Leatherwood said, if Alabama wins convincingly against Auburn, how could they keep Alabama out? Oregon lost to Auburn, and Oklahoma lost to Kansas State, which is a horrible loss compared to LSU. Mike jumped in. He said, Alabama can't see in without Tua. Larry said, thank you. Look, I think that the reason they have them at number 5 is they're waiting to see what this team looks like with Mac Jones. And I can understand that, but I will go on and tell you, as a guy that has watched Mac Jones, that this is not going to be the Cardale Jones thing that happened with Ohio State back in 2014. This team was built around Tua's skill set.
Correct.
They are not going to suddenly devise a game plan and build a defense that is going to enable them to whip Auburn the way that Ohio State whipped Wisconsin.
Alabama's offensive line is really good. Auburn's defensive front, really, really good.
Yeah.
I think Auburn's going to at least keep this thing close. I think they're going to be tough to beat in the Plains.
I agree. Nick said, I don't know. It will be interesting to see how Alabama can do. Matt, you should always reward best wins first, and then if it's tied, look at losses.
I agree with that completely.
You play to win, not for comparing best losses unless the teams are even. Let's see. Mike, Alabama hasn't played anyone to get in over a P5 champ without Tua. I agree. That does make sense, said Nick. And then, Joel, do you think Alabama has a much higher chance of losing to Auburn with Jones? Yes. Yes, 100%.
I don't think Alabama will be favored in that game.
Oh, I disagree with that.
Then I'll make money.
Also, transitive property doesn't work in sports. Matchups make the fight. Very true, Matt Miller. So, they're not going to do anything with Alabama until they see what they look like against Auburn. Period.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're going to stick them at 5. And
they're going to beat the hell out of this high school team they're bringing in next week, and, yeah, then we'll see what happens with Auburn.
Yeah. Nick said it's hard to say because he's throwing to all 5 stars. Yeah. I mean, all right, Mike, another good question here. Which top 3 team can get in with the loss?
Well, I think LSU and Ohio State both in with a loss.
Clemson will be out if they lose.
If Clemson loses to anybody on their schedule or in their championship game, yeah, they're going to fall to like 8.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it'd be 8, but they drop.
They're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. Their resume is rough, so they have to beat the hell out of people.
Lone Wolf said, I believe LSU and Ohio State could afford a loss because SEC and Big Ten better than ACC. And if Clemson loses any game, I believe they're out due to their conference and Big 12 and Pac-12 champs.
And it's not just their conference. It's their resume. Like, you could play in an okay conference and have some good out-of-conference wins or whatever, however you want to figure this thing out.
Well, I mean, they scheduled 2 SEC teams. The problem is Texas A&M.
Well, scheduling South Carolina doesn't help anything. That's your
Agreed.
rivalry, and you're so much better than them every year.
Some years, South Carolina was better.
No years. Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, when Spurrier was there, yeah. And that's been less than a decade ago.
He's a Hall of Fame coach. Jadeveon Clowney, one of the greatest players in college football history, never lost to Clemson.
But
After
Texas
that,
A&M,
they haven't won.
Texas A&M this year, not a good year to have A&M on their schedule.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because they're going to end up 7-5. So
we'll do an entirely different show one day where I just bitch about why we have to schedule games a decade apart when we have private planes and we could schedule something next year and just do it and buy out some high school team that you're playing and make that happen. But
yeah,
then we can know 2 good teams are going to play one another.
Matt Miller said, when will we get, if ever, to 8 teams and 9 conference games with each team?
Not soon enough.
It will never happen so long as the SEC and the ACC are not forced to. The majority of the SEC coaches like it. Nick Saban, so far as I understand, is the only one that wants 9 conference games, and he wants to play at least 10, if not more.
I thought he was talking about 8 playoff teams.
He was saying 8 teams and 9 conference games with each conference.
Oh. Well, I don't know about the conference games matter, but the playoff games absolutely matter, and we need 8.
Yeah, I think moving to 8, like, I was against it at first.
Happen. I think that'll happen. I don't know when, but it's not soon enough.
I just think it's better TV, if nothing else. It gives more of an equal opportunity, but it's more television, and you get to see some of this stuff every now and then. So I don't know. You get to see an upset once in a blue moon. Big Ten or SEC, better chance to get 2 teams in. I would go with the SEC. I think Georgia is significantly better than Penn State, and I think that's about the only shot that.
Yeah, you need either Penn State or Minnesota to upset Ohio State. And that just...
I saw something interesting. I think it was the ESPN FPI that gave Wisconsin, if they went out, a 32% chance to get into the playoff. And if they beat Minnesota, they go to the Big Ten championship game. And if they beat Ohio State, then
I could do that.
Okay,
because basically they're 1-1 against Ohio State. That wipes off a loss. So their only real loss is the bullshit loss to Illinois.
Illinois, which is crazy.
So we could have a national champion that lost to Illinois. That would be the most Lubby Smith thing in the world.
Yeah,
is to say I beat the national champion.
You are so right about that. Joel said, Lone Wolf, I honestly think Ohio State and LSU would still get in with the loss.
Yes.
Since Clemson's schedule is horrendous, and with whatever one-loss team gets in at the number 4 spot. Nick said maybe 2 out of the SEC, but not out of the Big Ten. Too weak of a conference. I don't buy that. We're going to
disagree there. Hey, I do have a funny question. If we're going to draw out hypotheticals, this is shit hitting the fan. LSU and Ohio State losing. Now one of those cats aren't coming.
Oh, yeah.
To the table. Or you're going to tell one of those conference champions,
Sorry, I know you won.
I know you won.
Well, and they did that to the Big Ten.
So let's say Penn State beats Ohio State. That's Ohio State's only loss. Minnesota beats Penn State in the championship game. Again. They say, we're taking Ohio State over Minnesota. Bump that noise. We're taking Ohio State over Minnesota. I'm sorry. Is that going to happen?
I could see it happening. It happened to Penn. Now, Penn State had 2
because
losses.
if LSU loses to Georgia, I think both of them are getting in no matter what. And I think Ohio State is saying, we deserve to be in over Minnesota.
What year was it? 2017? I think it was 2017.
Yeah.
When
the Penn State-Ohio State bullcrap happened? Yeah.
Or was it 2016 maybe?
It might have been the 2016 year, the 2017 championship game.
Yeah, because Penn State beat Wisconsin that year. Yeah. I mean, it's just bananas. Let's see. We've got several more comments here, and we're gonna wrap this up because we got more recording to do. We got to get our picks done. Let's see. Mike said, or no. Here's Larry. There was a discussion about Alabama not getting in over a one-loss conference champ to begin with due to a top win. Without Tua, you cannot unequivocally say Alabama is the 4th best team. I think it depends on how Mac Jones looks. I mean, you can't say that they're not right now, so who knows? Mike said we need to have standardized scheduling. Nick said, what is standardized scheduling? Lone Wolf said, I believe these big schools should stop scheduling more of these FCS late in season because it only benefits FCS for money. Well, I mean, that helps out FCS athletic departments. So
I don't care.
I mean, if you want to know, like, I look on the extreme side. I think that the Power 5 should split apart from the Group of 5 and only do P5 games. But that's just me. So
you and I live in a world. I don't like the P5 G5 stuff because I think there's a lot of top tier G5 teams that are far better and more valuable to the football that's being played than a lot of the Power 5 schools have. I would live in a perfect world of 4 16-team conferences.
Yeah, I could see that. Mike said everyone has to play the same schedule. Top 10 teams from the prior year need to be playing the next year.
Now, you and I have talked about this.
Yeah, conference champs playing each other.
I like the NFL's way of doing it in the sense of if you were the first place team in your division, your out of conference games are against other first place teams in other conferences in the country. And if you were dead last, then you play the last place teams. And if you were 6th, then you play the 6th place team. And that would be a spectacular way.
Oh, I agree.
To get really good football in matchups that we don't normally get.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, I mean, if you have the same conference winner year after year in some of these things, like
why is that a problem?
I don't think it's a problem.
Because right now, basically, you've got, I don't know how many conference champions, but you're only going to play, 3 out of conference games? 4 out of conference games? You're not playing a lot. And so it's not like you're going to play every conference champion. And so
True.
What? If the number 1 team and the number 1 team, if Ohio State and Alabama and Clemson are all that and they play every year, that's great football in the regular season.
That's true.
And you win those
they'd
games.
have to figure out the home and home situations. They'd have to figure
it'd be fine.
all that stuff
you
out.
Figure all that out.
I mean, remember,
that's not a hard thing to do.
That stuff is budgeted. So if you want them to stop playing like the FCS teams and stuff, you got to. you got to figure it out because those home games.
We
are
have
budgeted in.
enough money in college football to be able to support the lower division. I assure you of that. Those programs don't cost that damn much for the amount of money that big boy college football makes. It makes billions.
Yeah. I mean, you might be right.
That's a cop-out. Money in college football and college sports in general is always a cop-out. We don't have the money to do it. Bullshit, we don't have the money to do it.
Let's roll through the rest of these, and then, like I said, we got to get out of here.
Yep.
Let's see. Matt Miller said, "Hey, Illinois is 6-4. This is true. This is 100% true." Larry Pilgrim, don't say that, Chris. No LSU Ohio State chaos. Nick said everyone in the selection committee would be running around like a chicken with its head cut off. That's true. They'd have to actually do some work at that point.
They would just be sticking their hand out and waiting for somebody to put money in it.
Yeah.
That's what would happen, by the way.
Michael Fritch said, "Thanks for doing this, fellas. Really enjoyed it."
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you guys. Joel, Illinois is honestly on a roll, although I don't think they'll beat Iowa. No.
Hey, I won't be upset if it happens. No, but I was so out on Lovie Smith before the season started. I'm so in favor of what they're doing right now. I love it.
You got that right. Matt Miller, it should be the P6 with the American Conference. We've been preaching that for years.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. Boise belongs in that conversation. What we need is Boise to join the American. Listen, UConn is getting bounced, all right? Bring Boise over. I know we're killing the Mountain West, but you bring Boise over, and now we've got a P6 conference, and that is real. And nobody can argue that conference is not better from top to bottom than other comparable conferences.
Well, per real-time RPI, the American Conference is actually the fourth best conference.
There's no
and then
question
you got the Pac-12 and then the Big 12 after that. So
how the hell is the ACC?
Oh, sorry. Pac-12 and then the ACC.
I was just about to say, there's no way that's true.
That's
I got you.
Completely different.
You can make it.
Nick said, "You guys should be on ESPN. Your check is in the mail, brother. We appreciate that."
We'll take any phone calls from anybody out there.
There you go. So long as they still let us do this.
My phone rings, I'll answer it.
Michael said, "Agreed, Nick."
Thanks,
let's
guys.
see, Mike.
We do appreciate that.
Mike Campion, that would be awesome. That's why I think you have to play 3 from the top 10 the prior year. That will give you different matchups. Also, the higher ranked team gets the home game. Good point.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Well, what sucks is that if you're like 6 through 10 every year, then like you're always going to be on the road. So the budget, yes, it'd be cool. If you did a neutral site, then that wouldn't be a problem.
You do a couple, but you can't do all of them. You can't do all your non-cons neutral site. The schools would lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
Well, the season ticket holders would be pissed too, because now they're traveling to 3 extra games, plus they're hoping to go to bowl games. It's just too much money.
I agree. Joel, ESPN won't do justice to how great they are, and then he put a smiley face. You guys are way too sweet, man. Thanks. Way too sweet. Thanks. Larry said,
NBC Sports, Fox Sports. I mean, there's a
Hey, we'll revamp anybody that wants to be revamped.
That's right.
Larry said, "Night, guys," and Mike said, "Really enjoy the live chat, being able to interact with you guys." Hey, good. We enjoy this as well. That's why we started doing it.
I got some Rutgers talk coming on at the end. What's that say?
Rutgers, Vandy, and teams like that can kick rocks if they realign.
See, the biggest problem, because when I was in high school and I was a younger man, I didn't understand how stuff worked. I used to say, "Why is Vanderbilt in the SEC? Why don't we just kick them out?" And then I have a substantially older brother, Auburn guy, good dude, and he made it clear to me, because he went to Vanderbilt when he was really smart, and he made it clear that they have the best attorneys, and they're a founding member of the SEC, and no one in the SEC is smart enough to get rid of them.
Oh no, absolutely.
And we don't have enough money to get rid of them because they have a metric shit ton of money.
Yes, yes they do.
That's how I learned about.
Well, and their academic prowess helps out the conference.
In my perfect world in sports, we don't really care about that.
No.
I know that Michigan hates that. I know that Notre Dame hates that because they're so much better than us. But come on, guys.
Yeah, they ain't that much better than the SEC now.
Michigan and Notre Dame's academics are way better than ours. Take Vanderbilt out. They are way better than ours.
But we're not taking Vanderbilt out because we're not taking Michigan out.
Okay.
And Notre Dame is a whole standalone thing. That's an independent. Join a conference. Commies.
I'm okay with that being independent. Do whatever you want. Listen, the Pope spoke.
Last one, Mike said, 1 year you get home, next year you get away the following year. The problem with that is
you don't know who you're going to play every year.
Yeah.
If you played the same team, if you did a home and home, but if we're doing the first place, you know, at the first place or the second. How you doing?
You wouldn't know.
Listen, give me a month and a lot of money, and I'll figure it out.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
don't even need a lot of money.
There you go.
What's the Pac-12 commissioner make? I'll take half of that right now and do his job tomorrow.
What does he make? It was like $4.7 million.
I'll do it for half,
which is like $2 million more than the next guy.
I'll do it for half. I'll do it for half of what that guy makes.
Here, last question for Matt Miller. As a Texas fan, if Herman doesn't work, who would you pick as the next head coach?
If Herman doesn't work, oh my God,
Urban.
That made my life so happy.
You go get Urban Meyer because USC ain't hiring him.
You're the one Texas guy that you're good with me anytime.
We will see you guys again for another live show on Sunday for the college football reaction. Go over to winningcureseverything.com. Of course, all of our stuff is over there. Our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, social media platforms, etc. Every now and then, I toss up an article. Every now and then. Who knows when it's going to pop up. But either way, Mike said look forward to your picks tomorrow. That's what we're headed to do right now. We're going to record that stuff.
Hey, if you're in town, go to Tunica. If you're in the Memphis area.
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Ever visiting?
If you're on the podcast, make sure that you listen to the podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
And leave a nice review. We appreciate those, of course. That stuff helps out way more than you know. And as Chris was saying, Tunica, Mississippi, the South's premier sports gambling destination. They got 6 awesome sports books. Go down. Go down and check it out.
Come visit us.
Yes. If you come down, even if Mike said he's in Florida.
If you're above the Mason-Dixon line, it is a really nice time to be in Mississippi. Yes. I mean, it's still cold here, but we don't have snow and ice.
Yeah. So come on down to Tunica. Hang out with us. We'll be doing some NFL playoff stuff down there. We'll be hanging out, March Madness, doing all sorts of stuff. So hit us up if you're coming down. We would like to come out and meet you, shake your hand, hang out, and all that wonderful stuff. TunicaTravel.com is the website. You guys have been awesome. We can't thank you enough for hopping in here. And
next Tuesday night, and it'll probably be a little earlier than this.
Well, Sunday is 9:30 a.m. Next Tuesday
this is all Central Time. We live in the Lord's time. That's when
God's time zone. Yep.
You should set your time zone too.
There you go. There you go.
When I one day take over the world, we'll just have this.
9:30 a.m. Central Time on Sunday. And then next Tuesday should be around 7 p.m. Central Time.
7:30.
7:30, somewhere around there. So,
a little fluid.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for jumping in, and we'll see you all again next time. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and tweet at us.